Hey guys, and welcome back to the corner. So, today I am very excited about this because I wanted to do another game besides Summoner's War. Now, Summoner's War is great, don't get me wrong. I love doing the Summoner's War videos, but this is a game that I have loved for many, many years, and I wanted to share it with you guys. So, this is Dungeons and Dragons Online. Now, I'm actually gonna let me get in here and turn the audio down just a little bit because to me that feels overpowering. So, in any case, Dungeons and Dragons Online is a free MMO. It's like 12 years old now, I think. Um, you can get on and you can play for free, and you can actually go quite a ways in the game for free, and you can actually earn all of the content in the game over time. Now, it takes a long time. You'll probably end up having to delete some characters to do that, but yes, you can get through the entire game for free. So today we're going to talk about character creation, and I want to show you guys what you can do as a free player, and then I'll kind of explain how you get there are three account types. There's free, there's premium, and there's VIP, and I'll explain the differences uh, as we go through this video. So let's start with creating. So here we go. These uh, you can choose your different types of style. So they've got melee style, spell style, specialist, or iconic. Now the iconics you have to pay for. The reason being is iconics start out at a higher level in a different zone. So you got to pay for them. You can drop money or you can earn them. So we'll focus on the melee, spell, and specialist here. So if you look at the melee types, the melees are fighter, barbarian, paladin, and monk. Monk you got to pay for. Spells are sorcerer, cleric, wizard, favored soul, druid, and warlock. Favored soul, druid, and warlock you gotta earn or pay for. And then specialist. Specialist you got ranger, rogue, bard, or artificer. Artificer you have to pay for. Oh, and I should also note that favored soul you can actually earn in the game by just doing reputation grinds. You don't necessarily have to pay for this one, it can be earned. So let's go here. So I figured today I'll show you character creation, and I'm going to create a character that has high solo ability, because a lot of the game is team oriented, but almost every dungeon can be soloed if you know what you're doing while you build. So I think I'm going to do a melee type. Actually, you know what? Let's make it interesting. So we can do a paladin. Very good solo ability. Paladins are very strong melee fighters, very tanky as well. They can heal themselves as they get further in levels. They're not bad. But, actually, yeah, let's not. I think even better than a paladin, I want to do a cleric. So, clerics, if you're not familiar with Dungeons and Dragons, clerics are not like your typical healers in a lot of other games. Clerics in D&D, they wear heavy armor, they carry a shield and a weapon. They can be strong melee fighters or they can be strong casters. It's up to you how you build them. You can actually make a cleric very tanky, which is, I know, kind of adverse to how a lot of MMO viewers would view a healer. Alright, so we're going to start with the cleric. Now you can choose these. These are pre-built builds that you select these and the game will choose your stats and your skills and your spells for you. We don't want to do that though. We want to go to customize. We want to have a strong solo character. All right, so these are all the different races that are available: human, elf, halfling, dwarf, warforged, half-elf, drow elf, half-orc, gnome, and dragonborn. Now, all of the ones with premium feature have to be bought in the store, with the exception of the drow elf. The drow elf can actually be earned through gameplay, and he's actually very easy to earn. You can actually earn the drow elf unlock by like level 6 or 7 if you're dedicated to it. But I want to stick with human. Reason being is humans just we're kind of min-max here. I'm going to show you in a few minutes a thing's called a feat. Humans get an extra feat, which is really handy for doing solo classes. And I should note while it's loading, because here's the thing, when you choose customize and you go through it, sometimes it takes a minute to load. On older computers like my old one, sometimes it could take 2 or 3 minutes to get to the screen that you see here. So if it does seem to freeze, don't get frustrated. Just let it sit for a minute. It's calculating a lot. It'll get there. All right. So uh, talking about race real quick, and then we'll talk about all these. So in this game, you get these things called enhancement trees, which allow you to partition points out where you want. You get trees that are based on your class, and you also get a tree based on your race. So you can actually get bonuses for different races. So the races do matter for your playstyle. So just learn the races, tailor them to your playstyle. For what we're doing, I'm thinking a human is best out of the free-to-play ones. So let's talk about stats. So strength affects how much inventory you can carry at once because you have a weight limit. Now, if you have a strength above 12, you'll almost never have to worry about that weight limit unless you get a debuff that causes you to worry about it. Strength affects your chance to hit with melee attacks and the damage that you deal with your melee attacks. Dexterity affects armor class. Now, armor class is not your ability to absorb damage. Armor class is your ability to take no damage from a hit. It's essentially a dodge stat. Dexterity increases your armor class, it increases your reflex saves, and it increases the hit chance for your ranged attacks. Constitution is your health. It affects certain saves, your fortitude saves, which are things like against poison and disease. But it also this stat just affects your hit points all around. It's always good to have a high constitution no matter what race you are. Intelligence affects the amount of skill points that you have. And if you're a wizard or an artificer, intelligence is very important for your, or a rogue. It's very important for your skills and for your ability to cast spells. Skill points, we'll get into that in a moment. They are important too. For most classes, I would say if you've got the points to spare, because we only got 28 points right now, um, you really ought to have 10 in here. You don't want to have a negative on intelligence because then it just makes skilling really annoying. Wisdom. Wisdom affects your will saves, which is your ability to avoid mind control and things like that. And it also affects how many spell points you have if you're a cleric, druid, paladin, or a ranger. And it also affects how fast your ki regenerates when you're a monk. So since we are a cleric, we're going to want to have a decent wisdom. But we are not going to be a casting cleric. We are going to be a melee cleric, so we don't have to max this stat out. Charisma affects your spellcasting ability for sorcerers, bards, and favored souls, and your turning ability for clerics and paladins. Now, in D&D, you get an ability called Turn Undead. Turn Undead can cause undead around you to flee in fear, or if you're powerful enough, you got high enough charisma stat, it can actually just outright kill the undead. So it's always good to have a decent charisma no matter what kind of cleric you're building. So I'm going to get all those up to 12, and that one up to 10 since those are my important. Clerics wear heavy armor, which have a cap on how much dexterity affects them, so not really worth putting much in dex. But since I'm melee, I want to go 14 strength, 14 con. You know what? I can go 14 all around here. Now, you see, after you get above 14, it costs 2 points to raise one level at that point, and that can get annoying. But let's see, where do we want to put it? Let's put it in strength. We want to do damage. Let's put it in strength. So let me talk about my ability modifier before we move on. I know it's a lot to take in. This is kind of a complex game. I'm trying to give you guys a breakdown as best I can. So the game uses dice rolls, just like you do with regular D&D. They're just hidden in the background, and you can actually see them sometimes. But when you roll a dice roll for an attack, you add your ability modifier to it. So not the actual raw number, but the modifier is what's important. Okay, so the modifier is at 0 at 10. So if it's less than 10, you get a negative point for every 2 points that it's less than 10, and a positive point for every 2 points above 10. The odd numbers don't typically matter for much, but there are a few things that will be affected by odd numbers, so it's still a good idea. But it's the even numbers we're really concerned with. So I'm liking this build so far, so let's go next. So these are skill points. Now, some characters get lots of skill points, some don't. There's all kinds of different skills. A skill with a star on it means that that skill is not one that is typically built into your class. Now you can still get it, but you only get half a skill point for each point spent. And you can only go up to 2 on your first run, which means putting points there, not a bad idea, but you're never going to get really great in that skill. Skills without the star, it's one point for 1 point there. Now the reason I got 10 intelligence to start instead of leaving it at 8 and getting more attack points is your starting stats is you get 4 points, or you start out with 12 points, and then you get point, uh, an additional, I think, 4 points for each intelligence mod you have. So if you start out at 8 intelligence, your intelligence mod is -1. So you actually only start out with 8 points instead of 12. And these points are kind of important. So I'm going to invest in Spellcraft. Spellcraft increases the spell power of like uh, fire, acid, and cold type damage. So that's what we want. And then heal does a couple things for us. So 4 points in heal. Um, if you revive a friend with a healing kit, which is honestly obsolete, that's something old in the game that was never taken out but isn't needed anymore. Um, it increases the amount of health that you revive them with. Also, whenever you rest, it increases the amount of health that you and your companions get in dungeons. So if you and your companions are in a dungeon and you rest at a rest shrine, the person with the highest heal, that's the one that the game uses to determine how much health everyone gets out of it. So having a high heal helps your whole team. It also increases the power of your uh, positive and negative energy based spell damage. Now, this will be important later, not so much early on. All right, diplomacy. I'm not worried about diplomacy because I'm going to be smacking people with with a sword. So don't care about diplomacy, but concentration. This is so important for what we're doing. Concentration is your ability to cast spells while somebody is punching you in the face. So this will help out a lot as you play. We're going to be we'll be getting 3 skill points per level up, and we're going to be putting 1 skill in each of those as we level up. All right, next is feats. This is where it gets really complex and where a lot of people get lost. When you are doing feats, you should really, really choose, look through the feats online before you start playing and decide what you want to do. Because some feats have other feats as a prerequisite, and you only get, on average, you only get 7 feats on a character in their life. If you decide to pay for the game, you can get a couple additional feats because it raises your level cap so you get more. But even then, you only get a few. Now, the exception is, of course, if you're a fighter, you get a lot more feats. If you're a human, you get a bonus feat, so you get 8. And then you have class feats, which you get based on your class, separate from the others. But because you have so few, you really want to kind of decide what you want to do and plan it out. Now, if you want, you can just play it by ear, and you will probably still do okay, because as I found, there's really no wrong way to play DDO. But you will still be better off if you plan it ahead of time. So let's first look at our class feats. Class feats are going to be in yellow, and these are your religion for your cleric. You're a cleric. You're a religious person, so you need to choose your religion. So the sovereign host, um, oh, and your religion gives you bonuses with certain weapons. So the sovereign host gives you long swords. Silver flame gives you long bows. Blood of Vol gives you daggers. This one gives you warhammers, onatar. And Aladra gives you sickles, and Arion gives you quarterstaves. Now, I'm going to recommend that you stick with either Arion or Sovereign Host for your first cleric. The reason being is those are the 2 weapons that are easiest to obtain early on. Now, once you've obtained some other ones or you're rich so you can buy more, you can try the others out, but I would really recommend sticking with one of those 2. And you're going to get bonus skills later on based on that. Oh yeah, I got someone bugging me on Steam. Um, in this case, I like the follower of the Sovereign Host because not only does it give you bonus with long swords, which are really common and easy to get, but it gives you an ability that is a full heal. It'll heal you to full health no matter how much you got. I think you get that at level 3 or level 6. I can't remember. All right, so now the other one. We are going to be a combat cleric. So we want to be able to hit things really hard. So I'm going to choose Power Attack as my first feat. Power Attack sacrifices a little bit of accuracy for a little bit of extra damage. And that little bit of extra damage does add up after a while, so it's very, very important. And then I'm also going to choose Cleave. Now, you didn't notice Cleave before because Cleave requires that you have Power Attack. So what Cleave does is it allows me to hit multiple people in a 180-degree arc in front of me. All right. So I've got Power Attack, I've got Cleave, I'm going to hit really hard, I'm going to use long swords, And then next is spells. Now, if you're a sorcerer, favored soul, bard, or a wizard, you are going to have to choose. Or no, not favored soul, sorry. No, favored souls do have to deal with this. You're going to have to choose which spells you want to learn. Clerics have a nice bonus. They learn all their spells at all level ups, so you don't have to learn them or pick them up other ways. You just have to choose which ones you want to take with you. So here's our starting stats, kind of an overview of everything. So we are looking good. Let's go ahead and enter the game. Oh, I completely forgot. I have to customize my look. So we're going to just be real quick with this. Sorry, I'm kind of particular on how my characters look. Now, one thing you'll notice as you play the game is although this game came out, I think it came out right after World of Warcraft, the graphics don't seem as advanced, and that's because the developers have decided they want people with older machines to be able to play this game, so they focus less on high polygon models and more on just doing good textures and adding more content. What do you think? Gray skin, red hair, green eyes? Yeah, that looks kind of fun. We'll go with that. Then you have to choose your alignment. Now, your alignment is important because if you want to multi-class, because you can actually have up to 3 classes on the same character. You just can't go to max level in any one of them if you multi-class. But it does actually work out well. I've got some great multi-class builds I can show you guys later. But certain classes cannot be certain alignments. So, for example, a paladin has to be lawful good. A druid has to be neutral something. They can be lawful neutral, neutral good, neutral, or chaotic neutral. A bard cannot be lawful anything, neither can a barbarian. So you kind of got to choose what classes you want to do ahead of time. Oh, and a monk must be lawful. Choose what classes you want to include ahead of time, and then choose your alignment. And some weapons will react differently based on your alignment. So I want to go, let's go Robin Hood, chaotic good. So I can't name this character Drac because I actually already have a character on another account named Drac. So let's do that, see if that'll take. Dracalish. Hey, what do you know? It went through. All right, so we have created our first character. I'm going to go ahead and kill the video right now, and then I'm going to do another video that details some of the early quests in the game. And what I think I'm going to do is in the following videos, I'm going to take you through different free-to-play quest areas and show you all the content that is in those areas, and I might do it one quest per video, or for the tutorial zone, I think I'm going to do all of the really early beginning areas in one video. Or the tutorial zone, sorry. The tutorial zone, you can split it into 2 sections. I'm going to do one section, which is like 5 quests in the first video, and then another section, which is, I think, 4 quests in that section in another video. And then after that, I might do just, like one quest per video. Keep them short and sweet. But, so yeah, we have our first character, Dracalish. And in our next video, we will take her in and go through the tutorial area and show you guys the quests there and show you how the game is played. So, but until next time, if you have any questions or comments, please put them in the comments below. If you have any suggestions for things that you want me to try, put it in the comments. If you have build ideas that you want me to go over with you, that goes in the comments too. Please like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about my channel, and we will see you guys next time in the corner.